What if one of the most destructive emotions in your life wasn't obvious? Not anger, not fear, not sadness, but something much quieter. Something that can hide for years while convincing you that you're completely right. Friedrich Nietzsche believed that one of the most dangerous psychological forces is resentment. Not because it hurts others, but because it slowly transforms the person who carries it. The strange thing about resentment is that it rarely announces itself. Nobody wakes up and says, "I am resentful." Instead, it appears in more acceptable forms. Criticism, bitterness, constant comparison, secret satisfaction when someone else fails, an inability to celebrate another person's success.
According to Nietzsche, resentment often emerges when people feel powerless to change their own situation. Rather than confronting that feeling directly, they begin focusing on others. Nietzsche's analysis of ressentiment describes how frustration, envy, and blocked ambition can be transformed into judgments about other people and their achievements. Imagine someone who always dreamed of becoming successful. Years pass. Nothing changes. Then they watch another person achieve exactly what they wanted. At that moment, they face two possibilities. The first is difficult. They can ask themselves uncomfortable questions. What have I avoided? What excuses have I made? What actions have I postponed? The second option is easier. They can decide that success itself is bad, that ambitious people are selfish, that wealthy people are corrupt, that confident people are arrogant. Suddenly, they no longer need to confront their own inaction. The problem becomes everyone else.
This is one of the psychological patterns Nietzsche explored throughout his work. He often examined how people create explanations that protect the ego from painful self-examination. But resentment is not limited to success. It appears in relationships, friendships, families, workplaces. Sometimes a person carries an old wound for years, a betrayal, a rejection, a humiliation. Instead of processing the experience, they keep replaying it, again and again and again. The event ends, but psychologically, they continue living inside it. The past becomes their identity. Their personality slowly organizes itself around what happened to them. This is why resentment is so dangerous. It traps your attention. It keeps your focus locked on people who may no longer even think about you. And while you remain emotionally attached to the past, life continues moving forward. Nietzsche admired people who could transform suffering into growth, not because suffering is pleasant, but because suffering is unavoidable. The question is what you do with it. Do you use it as fuel, or do you use it as evidence that the world owes you something? Many people spend years waiting for justice, waiting for recognition, waiting for apologies, waiting for someone to finally understand what they went through. But while they wait, their lives remain suspended. The future becomes a hostage to the past, and resentment grows stronger.
The most ironic part is that resentment often hurts the person carrying it far more than the person they resent. The other person moves on, builds a career, starts a family, pursues goals. Meanwhile, the resentful mind keeps returning to the same story, the same disappointment, the same grievance, the same emotional wound. This is why Nietzsche's philosophy was ultimately focused on self-overcoming. Rather than building an identity around injury or comparison, he emphasized transformation, self-cultivation, and the continual creation of oneself. So, how do you know if resentment is controlling your life? A simple question can reveal a lot. When someone succeeds, what is your first reaction?
Inspiration? Curiosity? Respect? Or discomfort? Do you immediately search for reasons why their success doesn't count? Do you look for flaws? Do you look for shortcuts they supposedly took? Do you secretly hope they fail? These reactions don't make someone evil. They make someone human. But they also reveal where inner work is needed. Because every moment spent obsessing over another person's life is a moment stolen from your own. The strongest people are not those who never experience resentment. The strongest people are those who recognize it before it takes root. They acknowledge their envy, their disappointment, their frustration, and then they move forward. They turn comparison into motivation, pain into wisdom, failure into growth. That is the difference. Nietzsche believed that life belongs to those who create rather than merely react. And resentment is ultimately a reactive emotion. It keeps you focused on what others have done, what others possess, what others achieved. But your future cannot be built from reaction. It can only be built from creation. The moment you stop asking why life was unfair and start asking what you can create next, something changes. Your energy returns. Your focus returns. Your freedom returns. And perhaps that is Nietzsche's deepest lesson. The greatest victory is not over another person. It is over the part of yourself that refuses to let go.